What's up, everybody? Remington from Sprocket Talk, aka Impulse Creative, and I got an inquiry through a Facebook group about how to create an NPS bot in HubSpot. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to show you how to dig in and create this NPS bot using HubSpot conversations and bots.
Are you a HubSpot user looking for fun and interactive education that helps you be better at HubSpot? Then welcome to Sprocket Talk.
When you think about HubSpot bots and HubSpot conversations, a lot of times this has to do with thinking about things very similarly to how you would a normal form, but now what we have to do is we have to think about the actual user intent. What's awesome about HubSpot bots is we get the ability to do smart content, but do it on a field by field level. So just like in forms where you can choose what conditional items will show up based on answers in forms, you can do a similar thing in bots, and a lot of times it's not very easy to follow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dig in and show you how we're doing that. All right, so this was a question from Mark in the HubSpot Agency Partners Facebook group. Has anyone done a Net Promoter Score question with selection buttons on the conversations or chatbot? Any advice on how best to do that? So Mark, I'm answering this via video so that we can hook you up. So first off, what is Net Promoter Score? So NPS or Net Promoter Score is essentially breaking down and measuring customer experience based on a few different factors, but the idea is to quantifiably be able to understand where someone is ranking, but then also being able to get some interesting data in the outputs of that. So what's the reason behind the 8, the 9, or the 10, or the 4? So NPS allows for you to do that. There's a great link that I'll put in the notes below. You can go to netpromoter.com/know, and it's got a really big wealth of information about all the details on that. But enough about what NPS is. Let's get into what we have to do in order to build this bot. So the first thing that you're going to do is in HubSpot, you're going to create some custom properties. Now, what I recommend is creating a group so that you can organize everything and it can be all set up. And then the idea is you're going to dig in and you're going to create 4 main fields. Those 4 main fields are the NPS detractor answer, the NPS passive answer, and the NPS promoter answer. Now, what you're going to be able to do there is you're going to be able to decipher whether someone is a detractor, is passive, or is a promoter, and you're going to have different spots for those answers. And then the real secret to this is the NPS level. The NPS detractor, passive, and promoter are all going to be text fields. And then the NPS level, what we're going to do is we're going to create a radio button field that allows for you to go in and create options. And what you're going to do is, right now it shows 0 through 9 on this screen, but we have another page here. What you're going to do is you're going to create this radio select type field. You're going to put it in your NPS group, and then you're going to go through and put 0 through 10. Now, by doing 0 through 10, this will allow for you to get choice options in the actual bot. So once you have done that and you go back to your contact properties, you can then go into your settings. Now, what we have to do is we have to create a targeted message. So when we go into your settings to create a targeted message, you do that up in the top right here with the gear. You're going to choose conversations, and then you're going to go to inboxes. You're going to choose your inbox, and then you're going to go down to chat. Now, when we get down to chat, you'll see your targeted messages. I've created an NPS bot here just for the sake of the tutorial. So in this case, I'm going to click edit. You would create a new targeted message, and then you're going to go through the settings. So your audience is going to be everyone, unless you want this to only be for known users. And then when you get into the targeting, this is where the specifics are. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a query param NPS contains true. And so essentially what's going to happen here is in the URL, you're going to have question mark NPS equals true, and that would trigger this bot. You're then going to go into your messages, and you're going to create your initial message that allows for you to have your pop-up, so you'll see how it is here. Then you have the option for the bots. Now, I've created this bot separate, and so what I'm going to do is show you how to get to that first screen, and then we'll dig into the individual fields. So once you get into your bot, you're going to create a new bot. You'll call this NPS, and in this case, I'm going to say test 2. You're going to go ahead and you're going to click create. And what HubSpot's going to do is they're going to go through and they're going to give you some preset questions here. The easiest thing to do here is to go through and trash each of these questions, because we don't want any of these, because we're not actually qualifying a lead, we're asking a question. And then you get started with your first question. So you can click the edit icon, you can update this to your NPS question, and this is where you would drop in your question. Now, one of the next things that I'm going to show is you go into your connections and you can add conditions. And for the sake of that, I've got this already pre-built here. So when you're into your questions, you create your NPS ask, as I had talked about. You've got your information where you have how likely are you to recommend Impulse Creative to a friend or colleague, and then you have your NPS level. Now, you notice this is the NPS level that we created in the form properties just a minute ago, and you see the quick replies are preset and it's 0 through 10. So when we go to our connections up top, this is where we get to drop in some logic, which we'll get to in just a moment. So when you press save, then what you're going to do is you're going to press the plus icon and you're going to create a series of fields. Now those fields are going to be the promoter ask, what is it specifically after they gave the grade that they like most or least about your company, and then a follow-up button for thank you for your feedback. You're going to do a passive ask, which is going to connect to the passive field, and I'll show you an example of that right here. So you're going to have your passive ask nickname, you're going to drop in the actual question, and then what you're going to do is you're going to collect the user input and push through to the NPS detractor answer, and then you're going to go ahead and press save. So once you go through and you do all of these steps, you'll have your thank you for that as well. You'll have your detractor ask, which is the exact same steps I just went through, just connecting to the detractor ask field. And then you have your thank you as well for the detractor. So it just provides some additional context. Once you have all of those fields created, then what you're going to do is you're going to go into that very first question, your NPS ask, and you're going to click connections and you're going to add a condition. Now, when you add a condition, it is going to give you a view like this. And what you can do is the user's response to the question, i.e. the NPS ask, is any of the following. And when you click in here, you'll be able to start clicking any one of those drop downs. So you can say 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you go through 6. And then what you want to do is you want to set your conditions for what the next step is. So this specific example is for a detractor. And so we would then move to the detractor ask question and press save. So once you have built out your detractor ask, you have built out your passive ask, which are with the numbers 7 or 8. You'll see that the settings are exactly the same that I just talked about, just with the numbers 7 and 8. And then of course the remaining options are 9 and 10, which would then push through to the promoter ask. So that's going to be what's left over in the list. So you go ahead and press save. And when you look, you'll see this. You'll see your question with all of the potential answers. You'll have a conditional statement right here for response is any of the following. Otherwise, if response is 7 or 8, and then you have a promoter ask. If you want to see visually what it looks like, you can click these right buttons. And now what this is going to do is it's going to show you the NPS ask pushes through to promoter and then thanks them. The passive ask puts through to this question and then asks this question, and then the detractor ask pushes through to this step. So once you have that all set up, turn on your toggle button, connect it to that trigger that you had just created, and then of course you have the ability to test the bot. So the bot is going to look something like this. So it's going to ask you the question. In this case, we're going to say that we're a 6. It's going to turn around and say what was missing. I would like ice cream. I don't know, I just want ice cream. You're going to press send. Thanks for your feedback. This information is crucial. So now what we've done is we've recorded that message, and that message would be then being submitted. Now you could do a lot of different things with this. You could make it so that if someone comes through and gives a 6 or lower with this detractor, that you could make it so you trigger an actual support ticket. So you could add in a step for the support ticket. You could say so-and-so is unhappy. Or what you could do, even more simple, is you could enroll them in a workflow for follow-up, or you could route them straight to an agent. For instance, it could be routed to the CEO or someone in charge of customer support and route them straight to where they need to go in order to get service. There's a lot of different ways that you could take this beyond just asking the question. So that's it for today's tutorial. If you have any other questions about HubSpot, HubSpot Conversations, HubSpot Bots, let us know. Sprocket Talk is here for you. If you haven't had a chance to, please subscribe and let us know of any other questions you have. Until next time, happy HubSpotting.